Good evening, paranormal community, and thank you for partaking here in this wonderful episode of the Odyssey Files. I'm your host, Michael O'Neill. With me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Mr. David Zori. Good evening, Dave.
Good evening, Mike. Good evening, Paranormal Universe. Got a really interesting show tonight. And I got something exciting I want to talk about at the top of the second hour. So,
yes,
thoughts have been thrown around. And I think that it's going to be a continuing thing that we're going to keep talking about. Like, as we have guests on, I'm going to kind of get their viewpoint on, kind of like moving forward. Because it's interesting. I don't know that there's any way to. I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it second hour.
Well, there you go. The foreboding has already begun.
Yep.
Just really quick before we get into tonight's mailbag. Dave already knows this, and I have already started the process. But we are due to last week we had Jim Harold on. And godfather of the paranormal podcast.
Great
and for
show.
whatever it was, loved having him on. The conversation flowed so nicely. We had to force ourselves to get into the topics we actually wanted to get into. But during it, no idea really why. I guess I do know why, but inspiration struck. I had an epiphany right during the show, which nobody noticed. And so I have started work on the Odyssey Files website. So that will be coming up as soon as I figure out how to pay for it. And our webmaster who has made my paranormal team website and pretty much every website I've ever wanted made. This guy has made it. He is amazing. So kind of search for that over the next probably month or so. He is a busy guy with much more richer clients than me. Reason he does my websites for a good price is because A, he loves the paranormal, and 2, I pay on time. So great client I am. And I don't ask him to do anything too strenuously hard. So we will be able to, even though you'll be able to still get our podcast, that's one of the things I sent them on your podcasting platforms, just like you always do. You will be able to start getting downloads off our websites. You will be able to see all of our old shows, stream our new ones, not on social media. They'll still be on social media, but you'll also be doing it off our website. I'm thinking that would be a great place, Dave, for 2 dudes and some chips
Probably
to make the appearance.
Their debut.
Its debut. So there'll be a lot of great content and stuff on there, especially one which is inspired by Jim. Not going to take credit for it whatsoever. But instead of our reading the stories that you guys sent in, you guys actually coming on the show to tell us directly in your own words. And the only difference, I think, and I would like to, I haven't actually talked to you about this, Dave, although I'm sure it wouldn't change anything, is instead of just reciting your story to be like, that's a great story, and then off you go, like, we'll actually try to help you understand what is going on. Yeah. But the other great thing that just occurred to me, don't know why I didn't before, is we're always talking about, if I had more information, if I knew this, what about this, we'll actually be able to ask that question,
right,
of our guests. So it's going to be a more interactive type mailbag going forward. Hopefully, once that is all set up. So looking forward to it. Should be
fun. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Great. Yes. So, with that said,
it's an absolutely gorgeous weekend, by the way. I know we complain a lot about Minnesota weather, but man, it couldn't be any nicer for the end of June going into the beginning of July, and 77 degrees and sunny out and just a nice breeze. And
here we are trying to entertain you.
Yeah. Where I should be. But
we should start doing our shows outside.
Yeah, I was out and about. So
I can start the show with "Good evening, live from my garage."
Yeah, there you go.
It's the Odyssey Files. So, alrighty. Well, with no other announcements, no other news to talk about, here we go. The Odyssey Files is proud to present the Mailbag. Alrighty. Boy, you look comfy, Dave.
I'm getting there.
Alrighty. So, here we go. And again, if anybody else who is listening out there at any point in time has any stories and questions that they would like to send us, paranormal wise, obviously Odyssey Files Radio at gmail.com. Hope get the email address correct. Or just you can direct message us on any of our social media.
Right.
That works too.
We will respond.
I'm sorry, and we will respond in kind.
We will respond.
Alrighty. So here we go. So number 1. Found a pair of glasses that aren't mine. Right away, I was like, your husband's having an affair. I think that's just the normal thing here. Anyway, I was walking across my living room when I felt something brush by my leg, then heard something small hit the floor. I looked and saw it was a pair of men's glasses. They don't belong to me, my husband, or anyone we know. We rarely have people over, and this would have been sitting on our couch for weeks since the last person visited. So we would have noticed. We are accustomed to weird stuff happening to us, and we both have had ghost sightings. My question is, has anything larger than a coin ever fallen out of thin air to where you saw it fall? I've never found ghost glasses from an alternate dimension before, so it creeps me out. Is there some old man ghost out there wandering the earth without his spectacles now? To your last question, no. Spirits don't need glasses, so you can rest assured that there is no spirit out there like squinting really hard to try to see who he's haunting now. So with that said, though, yes, there's lots and lots of stories out there of things that have just suddenly appeared or apported, much bigger than glasses. And the thing here, though, is that you saw it fall. Not a lot of people see that stuff. It always seems to be in a place, like people lose their car keys, and then all of a sudden it's right in the middle of the coffee table, where they couldn't have missed them. Things like that happen all the time. Or, as Dave and I love to talk about, things that disappear from the garage or your bedroom and you find them in the freezer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just like, the thing about this is those are your effects that disappear. I mean, there's not a lot of stories out there of stuff appearing that have nothing to do with you whatsoever. Now, could that be a spirit of somebody who used to live there and is just letting you know that there's somebody else there by having those appear? Maybe they wanted you to have them for some odd reason. A lot of people, they do this on purpose, though. They donate things to their museums and stuff like that when they're important, to be remembered. It could be some spirit or something like that giving you their glasses and letting you know that they are still around, and they just want you to know that. You don't have to do anything with the glasses. The glasses aren't cursed. Your life's not going to blow up because you have them. I would just put them in a safe place, where they're not going to get damaged, and move on with life. Have it be just a nice story. like, oh, look at these, pull them out of the drawer or wherever you put them and be like, these are the glasses that just suddenly appeared. And yeah, I don't think that you're in any danger whatsoever. I don't think you need to worry about anything. It's just going to be a great story. I just would caution you not to get rid of them. That's it.
I just don't know that I can get behind this being paranormal. So
really,
yeah,
usually I'm the natural guy.
Yeah, I know. So I'm wondering if maybe like somebody hadn't taken their glasses and like set them on the top of a lampshade or something like that, and she walked by and brushed the lampshade and like they fell off and fell down the side of her leg and then hit the floor. I don't know. I'm just not seeing glasses apporting out of thin air as some sort of like sign. Like that just doesn't, I don't know. I can't get behind the fact that it's paranormal. I don't think it is. I think that there's a logical explanation for this one. And there is there's not an old man ghost wandering around without his spectacles. So
I honestly thought that was a pretty funny addition.
Yeah, I'm just saying, right? Are the glasses old? Are they like spectacles, like what you would have seen back in the turn of the century? Are they just normal glasses? I mean, you said you don't entertain a lot, but that doesn't mean you don't entertain. Somebody could have been over and left them sitting there someplace, and then you brushed against something, and they happen to be sitting there, and you just didn't see them because they weren't sticking out like a sore thumb. And they fell. That's all. So before you jump into the paranormal here, as the person who submitted this, I would say that you need to reach out to anybody that you've had over in the last couple of months and ask them if they left their glasses. And to Mike's point, maybe your husband's having an affair with another guy. Maybe it's his glasses.
I mean, this person did say that it didn't belong to anyone in the house or anyone they knew, that nobody had been over for weeks. I'm assuming that they already probably reached out to those people like, hey, are you missing your glasses? But
I'm still not going paranormal.
I understand. I'm just throwing it out there.
I do agree though, man. Put them someplace safe. And if it were me, I would put them out on completely out in the open. Like if it's just you and your husband and you don't have company over, so you don't have to worry about them getting damaged, and you don't have cats or something where like the cats are going to play a hockey puck with it and get them all damaged and scratched up, then I would just leave them right on an end table somewhere and just say out loud, hey, your glasses are right here on the end table. Please come and get them. But then see if they disappear. And if they do, well, then I guess it's paranormal.
The egg on your face.
Then it's egg on my face. Be the first time in a long time, but I'm going to bet you the glasses, if you put them on an end table, I bet you a decade from now, they'll still be sitting on the end table with a 3-inch layer of dust on them.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's all I got for that. I think there's a common sense answer to that, but I appreciate you sending it in. I know it probably freaked you out. I think you're just putting a paranormal twist on something that's not paranormal. So, all right, number 2, Ouija experience. Did I do something bad?
Yes.
So a few years, yeah, exactly. Just the title. So a few years ago, my friends played the Ouija board and we didn't think much of it. We had 2 different sessions. The first attempt, we asked questions and asked for signs and got nothing. Second attempt, I now hop in for someone who didn't want to play anymore. Others were asking questions and nothing happening. Then I decided to try and ask a question of, who are we speaking with? Boom, the planchette starts moving right away. It moved to B and Z, and then we immediately asked if we could say goodbye and did. We looked up and saw that BZ could mean Beelzebub.
I thought you were going to do that on purpose, like screw that up or whatever.
Ever since then, I've always had an eerie feeling everywhere I've resided. Was this a dangerous move or am I just overthinking it? You are 100%. You heard it. Overthinking it. The letters B and Z did not conjure up some demon from the depths of hell, and one of the 10 fathers of leaders of hell did not come to your Ouija session just because you asked who are we speaking with. Totally overthinking it. Somebody was moving the planchet. Eerie feeling everywhere you've resided afterwards. Why? What eerie feelings? Was it a dangerous move? No, I mean, it's a stupid move. Playing with Ouija boards is you're just tempting fire. I mean, playing with a Ouija board to me makes about as much sense as sitting with a 5-gallon can of gas and lighting a match and looking in the neck of the can to see how much gas is in there. Sometimes nothing will happen, and sometimes you'll blow your face completely off. Just depends, So, I don't like Ouija boards. I mean, we won't go into it. I mean, obviously, but I totally overthinking it. Totally nothing to be worried about. You're making yourself have eerie feelings. Get over it. Get rid of it. There's no reason why you need to have eerie feelings. Your life's completely fine. One of the leaders of hell did not come to your Ouija board session. That's all I got.
You sent the invite. He did not RSVP.
That's right.
So I'm in agreement. I think you're definitely overthinking things. When I read this, I'm like, you majorly stretching the fact that, just the initials BZ, and all of a sudden you found some word, some name of a demon that had those 2 letters, and you're like, that could be exactly what that means. No, because just not. As Dave said, one of the leaders of hell is not just kind of following you around, making you feel eerie. No. It has far more important things to do with its time than just make you feel creeped out. Yeah. So I think you're definitely overthinking things. I think if anything, you either contacted a spirit who has the initials BZ, or a spirit who was trying to freak you out, to have a little fun with you. Right. But I have a hard time also believing that, let's just say for the sake of argument, he was bored on some Tuesday evening and wanted to come up and scare some humans. I just have a hard time believing that when asked who you're talking to, the only thing it's going to spell out is some random his initials. Yeah. And like, it's going to spell out devil. It's going to spell out, what it's going to spell out its full name. It's not going to put BZ, and then you'd be like, oh, can we say goodbye? Like, it's going to flip the planchet like off the board. It's going to do all kinds. It's actually going to be like, oh, okay, next time then.
Right. And the doors are going to blow open. All the lights are going out. The wind is going to come rushing through the house.
Yeah.
Right.
So
he's one of the leaders of hell. He's not going to just make you feel creepy, a little eerie.
Exactly. So,
right. Hi, Carol. Glad to see you.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, I'm with Dave on this one. I think you're fine. I think you just need to relax. And that every creepy feeling, and this is why I think this is it. Now, every creepy feeling that you have, and people have them all the time.
Oh, sure.
Every other day, people have creepy feelings, but you're now attributing every single one of them,
correct,
to this instance.
Right.
This example of the paranormal, and that's just that's just not the way it goes. So I think you're fine. I think each and every eerie feeling you have has its own instance for why it's happening, none of which have anything to do with this Ouija board session.
Correct.
And that's rare for us to say that.
That is rare for us.
Because usually it's the other way around. Usually it's like, you're a dumbass and you brought this on yourself.
Right, exactly. Good luck. But I don't think that that's the case here. I don't think that anything happened that was paranormal here.
Yeah.
Okay. I think somebody moved the planchette. One of your friends moved the planchette because nothing was happening. and you guys started looking up a little story and freaked yourself out, and now for some reason you're carrying that around like it's like something that it's not. So just let it go and move on.
Exactly. All righty. Next one. Can spirits mess with internet connection? My whole life, I've been very open to spirits and felt a lot of energies around me. I've moved to a townhome that's relatively new, and as far as I know, nothing has happened on this land. I can definitely feel a neutral presence in the home, but I have saged and cleansed to get rid of the dark energies every time it seems to come back. I realized while watching some old Loey Lane, did I say that right? Loey?
I think so.
Loey Lane stories. I don't know what that is either. Story times that whenever she had experiences, she'd have electronic glitches and thought about what happened the last time there was a dark energy in my home. Our internet, despite showing that it should be okay through our provider, would be glitchy and not work really well, or would not even work. I wonder if this has happened to anyone else. Yes, it's called Spectrum Internet. It's terrible.
Called internet. It's called wireless internet.
That's just the way internet works now.
Yeah.
Last week we almost barely had a show because my internet was going in and out, but I had no paranormal experiences.
Unless you've got a hard line T1 line running into your house, you're going to have internet glitches. I don't care who you are, and I don't care what your service provider is.
So here's my question, though. And this is what I didn't get. See, first you're like, I can definitely feel a neutral presence in the home.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you're like, I've saged and cleansed to get rid of these dark energies as they seem to come back. So which is it? Like, do you have dark energies and then neutral energies? Like, you're just not making any sense with what is actually going on in your home. And
confused too.
Yes. So I honestly, no, I think, again, just like the last story, I think you're just taking your own feelings and stuff, and then where you're getting it from the internet. These people went online, the last story, and found that BZ for some reason meant this demon's name. Well, now you went on the internet and you saw this lady's old story about electronic glitches, and all of a sudden the fact that your internet doesn't work right is the telltale sign that you're dealing with something dark, or you're dealing with spirits and they're glitching your internet. No, relax, people.
At least you didn't say it was a demon.
That is true.
So
maybe she was going there or trying to hint at it. I don't know for sure. But
there's a lot of people staging lately.
Staging?
Saging.
Oh, saging. Yes.
Yeah, unrequired, right?
Unjustifiably.
Unjustifiably. Yeah, there you go. Better word. Unjustifiably saging.
Well, I mean, that's true, but I mean, in our experience, I mean, saging really isn't supposed to necessarily harm anything.
No, right.
The only time it really does is when you're doing it with the intent of trying to get rid of ghosts who don't want to go.
If you're using it like a gun where you're forcing something out at gunpoint, then potential for combativeness is definitely there. But if you just like the smell of sage and you like the energy being calm and positive in your house, and that's what you get, that's how you feel after you sage, I'm completely sage the hell out of your house. Sage it all the time. I don't care. Just don't go in there with the attitude of flicking the bic and lighting the sage stick and then telling everybody and everything that it has to get the hell out. Because sage only removes negative energy and chaotic energy anyway. So if grandma and grandpa are sitting in the living room and you walk by with a stick of sage, they're not going anywhere, and they're not going to get angry.
They might get.
They're not going to get attacked. They're just going to be like, whatever. There she goes with the big cigar again.
So yeah, you're fine. If you want to continue to sage your house, fine, sage your house. But like learn like the learn the terminology and what you really want to do and what you're really experiencing. I would just reach out. I don't think this requires any sort of investigation, but I think if you reached out to just a paranormal team or something like that and ask questions, I think they can explain kind of what may be going on and that you're perfectly fine.
I have to agree with you.
You have to.
Yeah,
I
I totally agree with you, because
wait.
if that's the only thing that happens is your internet connection, I'm sorry, but your internet connection is also spotting out and going out and browning out at every other time of the day as well. It's not just because there's a paranormal occurrence happening.
Wait, I haven't been able to use this in a long time. So because you said
yeah,
that,
I know. Yeah, I know.
Michael's right.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I'm sorry, I forgot that I was even there.
Yeah.
All right.
I bet Ken hates the fact that he said that now.
Well, he doesn't even know I'm using it, so we're good. Anyway, that's all I got for that story.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add to it. I think that I think it's just your internet. So anyway, so this is interesting that this story got sent in a couple weeks back. We haven't had stories in a couple weeks now, obviously, because we've had guests. And this is kind of what got me thinking, but I had already been thinking prior to it. So, but it's funny. So our first question: do ghosts disappear when light is involved? So since my childhood, I've been thinking that ghosts disappear if a light is turned on. Is that true, or has it all been in our minds? Like, I still think this, and I need to know if it's true, because at night when I roam my house and look down my dark hallway, I feel like I'm being watched and my mind sees things that aren't there. But when I turn a light on, I feel safe, like nothing happened. What do you guys think? I think it's a very interesting topic that we're going to be discussing in detail on every show moving forward for the rest of the year with like different guests. Because I don't want to give away what I'm going to talk about. So I'm not even going to elaborate on this. So my answer is no.
Okay. Very short and to the point.
Yep. And I'll elaborate on it more in the second hour.
Right. No. Yep. We get it. Or at least I do. So everyone else just has to be patient.
Yep.
So the thing that kind of made me chuckle about this one was, when they said, because at night when I roam my house and look down a dark hallway, that it brought me back to an old Big Bang Theory episode where Bob Newhart was on playing it, this old time professor, and he's there, and Sheldon goes over and knocks on his door, and he's like, Sheldon, he's like, in a few hours I have to get up, pee, and then wander around the house. Like, it's like, why are you wandering around? Like, why are you roaming your house in the dark?
Right.
Like, turn on a light. Like, that just seems to be a common sense thing.
I would agree.
So beyond my jokes. So basically, and I'm sure Dave is probably going to agree with me on this one. I don't think it's probably maybe my answer to something that's going to be asked later, but we can all agree that it's kind of the human condition that we're afraid of what we don't understand, what we don't know. And when we are in dark hallways, we were in dark rooms and there's no lights on. If you're not like a paranormal investigator like me, where you like the dark, and that's where you probably feel most comfortable, you tend to freak out a lot. It happens all the time with people on their first paranormal investigation. You're in the dark, you can't see, all of a sudden you hear this knock on the wall and you freak out because you don't know what it is. And as soon as you flip on the light, you can see that there's nothing there, and you just feel better because you know that you are not in any danger. So do I think that for this particular instance, it's all in your mind? Yes, I do. I think that the light just gives you comfort, and it gives all of us comfort. But light doesn't stop paranormal activity. If they don't want to be seen because you turn on a light, they will just disappear. If they want you to see them, the light doesn't matter. They are seen in the day, they're seen at night. It doesn't matter about the amount of light. It's just your comfort of intensity that is affected by it. So I think, do ghosts disappear when light is involved? No. So I agree with Dave on that one. Do I think this instance of like your dark hallway and whatnot giving you the creeps? Yes, I think that's all in your mind. And you turn on that light and it makes you feel comfortable because now you know that there's nothing there. Whereas before, maybe you have doubts or something. I don't know why, but that's between you and your therapist. So yeah, that's all I got on that one. And Dave's answer was one word. So
for a reason.
For a reason, yes. All right. Well, here's our saging question. Have I angered a spirit by saging? Hi, guys. I've recently been experiencing a lot of negativities from other people. I was talking to my girlfriend. I said I should sage because it's been a while. I opened a couple of windows and began to sage. I came downstairs after putting it out and went over to the window in the kitchen. And as I went to close it, I felt a burning, dull pain that felt like a hot poker. I turned around because I had been cooking earlier and I thought I'd left the stove on. As I turned around, I saw something in the corner of my eye. My girlfriend asked if I was okay. I told her what I felt and showed her my back. There's a red mark and what looks to be the start of a blister. Can you guys shed some light on this, please? Sure. We've already talked about what saging does just 10 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the matter is, and it's interesting that this has come up because I was just team and I were doing a walkthrough this past weekend, and I told this story there too. I have had a case where some new homeowners, young husband and wife, and I believe her daughter, or their daughter, I should say, not her daughter, but their daughter, bought a new house. Older house, had been lived in for like 40 years by the past owners who had both passed away. And husband was in the military, so he was over in Iraq, so it was just the wife and daughter. One evening, she saw a figure of a woman walk across her bedroom door, out in the hallway. Freaked out, absolutely freaked out. And she did what most people would do: grab the sage, leave this house, all this other stuff. Well, the spirits in the house meant no harm. They just wanted to coexist. They wanted to live in their home, which they had been in for 40 years together. They did not take too kindly to being tried to have been forced out. Right. So they got a little, they didn't attack the woman, they didn't attack the child or anything, but they made their presence known a little bit more aggressively after the fact, which then caused us to be called in to investigate. And in it, we pretty much made the deal. We're like, okay, do you agree that if the homeowners agree never to try to remove you again, you will just leave them alone, live your life alongside them, but like we always do, let's try not to mess with their lives at all. If they're in a room, go someplace else, that sort of thing. Just right. Kind of coexist separately and peacefully. And I actually have the spirit box sessions that have the yes and the yeah from both of the husband and the wife, the previous homeowners. And there's never been an instance since. Now they live alongside. Like if there is an instance where they kind of pick up on each other, or she picks up on, she doesn't care. She understands now. But they did, like I said, they did not take too kindly to being tossed out. You might have had a spirit that really just wanted to make you understand that you should not be doing that. He actually, I'm just going to say he. I don't know if it was a he or she spirit, but they obviously wanted to make their point and their presence known. So I think that if it might be a one-off where they just did that to you that one time as kind of a, why don't you cool down a little bit there, buddy? But if it keeps happening, just do what my team did. Just be like, look, I know you're here. I apologize for trying to get rid of you. Let's just coexist peacefully, and leave it at that. And I'm sure that things are gonna settle down and become peaceful again. I just think that maybe your intention was misunderstood, unless it wasn't. Obviously, You didn't actually say that you were trying to get rid of spirits. You're just talking about the negativities of people. So you were just trying to calm the energy down. I think when you did that, you ended up angering. Yes, I do think you ended up angering a spirit. And I would just, maybe if you're going to sage again, make it known. Say, hey, I'm going to sage. This is not to get rid of you. I'm just trying to calm the energy down. And it should be all right.
I wonder who goes out and buys a sage stick because people at work are giving you crap, or people in your life are giving you crap. Like, what would draw you to go buy sage because a human being is treating you with disrespect or belittling you? That's my first question on this one. Then my second question obviously is intention, right? We talked about it earlier. I don't want to beat a dead horse on this, but if you just like the way that a property feels after you sage it, just like I know people that love incense. Sorry. They love the smell of incense, and so they burn incense in their house, and they just like that smell. I mean, I used to burn incense, I think, occasionally. So I don't know why you would get a sage stick to begin with if you're having if you feel like you're being treated disrespectfully or negatively by other living human beings. I don't know, kind of confused on that. But anyway, I agree that I think it was all intention. I think that that was just somebody letting you know that they're there and that they didn't like something you did. So I would apologize. I would just say, hey, look, it wasn't meant to be disrespectful. Like Mike said, wasn't trying to be an ass. I just, I'm having some things in my life going on. And so if that offended you, I'm sorry, chill out. I don't need any more pokes in the back, and I won't repeat what I did. You can still sage, just do so with respect, and just, do it because you feel like you want to lighten the energy in the house, not for any other reason. Not like it's a gunfight. And you should be fine.
That is a very interesting question as to, why he felt saging the house would take care of the negativities he's getting from other people.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I can think of on that one is, because of all the negativities of other people, like it's interfering with the energy of his house, that sort of thing. Like he's bringing that negativity into the house and it's like staying there. It's the only thing that I can think of for that one. But yeah, I think that if it's affecting that much, maybe you should just smudge yourself. You don't necessarily need to do the house.
Right. I would say that leave your baggage outside the door before you come into the house. Right. Do whatever
Yeah.
you need to do. If you need to go stop at church and have a confession, if you need to go talk to a psychiatrist, if you need to, like Mike said, smudge yourself before you enter the property, do it outside. Get some Palo Santo wood and light it up and just do a quick smoke cleansing of Palo Santo and while you're outside in your driveway before you walk in the house. And if the neighbors think you're weird, so what? So
Yep. If you've heard of the she shed, get a sage sedge.
yeah, there you go. Just fire up a bunch of sage, turn it into like a sweat lodge, a smoke pit, and just walk in there, and then just walk out and you leave all your negative energy in the smoke.
But by the way, for anybody who wants to start selling sage sheds, wow, you cannot say that 5 times.
Say that 3 times fast.
You can't. I can't even say it once. My idea, I want 10% royalties.
There you go.
And to be named after me.
There you go.
All right.
Nobody will be able to pronounce it, but damn it, that's the way it's going to be.
It took a while for the she shed, but yeah, sage shed, even worse.
Exactly. Number 6, shadow people. Are they a non-human spirit, or could they be humans that were bad and led negative, destructive lives? And the worse they were, the blacker the shadow. That's an interesting concept. That's why this one made the list. So I can go either way with this, but I'm going to go the way that I have learned on my own through experience what a shadow person is. So I don't believe that shadow people are a human spirit. I believe they are a non-human spirit. I do not believe that they were bad humans that led negative, destructive lives. I don't think that the worse they are, the darker the shadow. As far as my theory goes, shadow people, the color of their shadow, the darkness of the shadow doesn't have anything to do with how evil they are or how strong they are or any of that. It's just the way your eye perceives the image. So I'm going to say shadow people are interdimensional beings, which is what I've always believed. They come and go as they please. They're not tied to our universe. They're not tied to us. They randomly transport. They have their own agenda. They can be destructive. They can be malicious. There are stories. If you're a fan of Amy Allen's, and you listen to her show, you can hear her tell stories of shadow people that see somebody they like and they want to take them with them back to Shadowland, meaning that you would basically cease to exist in this dimension, and because you would be going into their dimension. So could something like that happen? I think so. I think that people disappear all the time. I think that part of that is alien. I think a part of that's probably shadow people. Do I think they're large percentages? No, I don't. But do I think it's that stuff like that happens? Absolutely, it does. So no, I can't get behind the fact that they're humans. I think that there are bad humans that don't move forward, that don't move on because they're not ready to move on, because they didn't live the life they were supposed to live this time. Free will made them choose poorly, and because they chose poorly, they're stuck, and they're going to be having to go back around again. So no, I don't think that the color of the shadow has anything to do with it. I think shadow people are interdimensional. I don't think they're human. I think that there are negative, dark shadow human people, but that's not the same thing as a shadow person. So we're getting in fine tooth comb on something like that. So that's all I got, but it is an interesting concept. I think for some people, they might get behind that concept that it's a human and that maybe the worse their life was, or the more evil that they were to their fellow human beings or to animals or whatever the case might be, that they come back as this really dark shadow. I don't believe that to be the case, but
So this is one of those things where I'm going to start with the differentiation of the two terms, shadow people and shadow person, and shadow figures. So what this person is asking about is shadow people, shadow persons,
yeah,
which, as you had said, are non-human, interdimensional. Nothing we do here has any effect on them whatsoever. In fact, the only thing that seems that they don't particularly like, at least when it comes to like figures like the Hat Man, they don't like the name Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they don't like Jesus, right?
For whatever reason. But otherwise they come and they go and they do whatever they want. If they want to harm us, they harm us. If they want to just do their own thing, they don't care whether we're there or not. Shadow figures, on the other hand, are just unfully manifested human spirits.
Right.
They're the ones you see, flowing down your hallway or out of the corner of your eye. They're the ones that are probably going to have different shades of blackness, not because of the lives that they led, but just because that's the level of manifestation that they're giving you right then. And they may want to appear dark. They may show up as a dark figure with red eyes, whatever they want to do. If it's to scare you, they may show up looking like your ex-boyfriend or your ex-husband or something like that. Who knows? It depends on what they want to do, but they are not the same thing as a shadow person. And I think a lot of people, probably even investigators out there, don't know the difference between the two. It's all just wrapped up into one big ball. So if it's a shadow, it's a shadow person. And what does that mean?
Not the case.
Right.
If it's interacting with you, it's probably not a shadow person.
Right. Or if it's not trying to kill you, I guess you could say.
Right. Right. If it's not stalking you, trying to take you into another dimension with it, it's probably not a shadow person.
Yes.
It's probably just a human spirit that's not fully manifested into color.
Right. Shadow people, regardless of what you see on TV, same thing with demons, are very rare.
Right.
But it turns out that, the most intense hauntings and stuff like that do tend to be demonic and shadow people related or have some sort of connection to it. And that's why you always see those on TV, because that's what sells.
Right.
But understand that because of the 15 cases over the last 20 years that they decided to show on TV, the 17 million other cases that you don't see are human spirits that don't have anything to do with demons or shadow people. So keep that in mind. But just in general, keep those two definitions apart. They're not the same thing. But to your specific question, shadow people are non-human spirits. So because they're not human spirits, the lives that they led and the it's irrelevant. It means nothing. So, all right. Well, look at that. This is the fastest we've ever gone through.
I gave one word answers on a couple, and then two of them were kind of similar. So
I know. All right. Last one, which should bring us to the second hour. Yep. We bought a haunted house.
Yay.
Both of us are kind of spiritually aware. We bought this old house in a small town. We immediately knew walking through that it was haunted. I felt it was demonic energy. Who knew? Of course.
Yeah. Exactly.
I felt it was demonic energy, and my husband thinks it's just ghostly. He also said he doesn't care if it's demonic, and if it were, he'd take care of it. Oh, it's a little arrogance here. Yeah, so the house was in a poor state physically, and we got it pretty cheap. It had been sitting for 2 years as the previous owner was in a car wreck and died. I guess there has been unexplained fires in the house as well, which leads the previous owners to install fire detectors in every room. The last owner used it as a rental. We asked about the house and the neighbor said it was definitely haunted, but after the last fire, the ghost went away, they told us. We know whatever it is still there. We are in the process of fixing it. There is no electricity or utilities on in the house currently. And while we were sitting down with the contractors, the fan started spinning rapidly a good 10 times, then stopped. We all stopped and stared at each other, confirmed we had all just seen what had happened. Then last night, my husband was working alone, and his keys, which are on a lanyard and normally tucked in his pocket, got yanked. As he was packing up, getting ready to go, he heard directly behind him a voice say, "Stay." Then his lanyard jerks from out of his pocket. He picks the keys back up and on his way home calls and tells me what happened. Oh, crap. I just lost the last line. Sorry.
It's okay.
What kind of entity does this sound like? Should we have the house blessed? Well, with all due respect to it feels like demonic energy. No. I'm afraid demons don't pull lanyards, keys out of your pocket. They don't make a fan spin 10 times and then just stop randomly.
Not unless they're sticking your hand in there.
Well, right. They'll do that.
Yeah.
I definitely think that you're dealing with just a regular spirit. Might even be the homeowner that passed away in a car wreck. I mean, Dave and I both know that when things like that happen, especially if it's instantaneous, this person will come back home thinking that it's their house, wondering why there's weird people moving around in it. Trying to be like, well, why can't you see me? Why aren't you interacting with me? And when they get that angry and desperate, energy surges out and does certain things. I'm sad that you didn't say what the voice sounded like, whether it was male or female, kid, older, middle-aged, that sort of thing. Because that would have gone a long way of being able to tell exactly who it may be. But I don't. You can have your house blessed. There's nothing wrong with that. Bring in your priest and have it blessed, and hope that it will send the spirit over to the other side. It'll help him or her find peace. I think you need to drop the whole demonic thing. I don't even know how you're somewhat spiritually aware, and all of a sudden you're just like, there's a demon in here, but we're going to buy this house anyway. And I don't understand your husband being like, well, if it is a demon, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Like, what is wrong with you people? And how would your neighbors know? Oh, there was a fire in there, but after the fire, ghost went away. You're good. How would they know that? Like, there's a lot.
The ghost waved goodbye to him as he was leaving the property, I guess.
And he had a suitcase behind him. Like, I'm
out of here. I'm out of here. After that last fire, it's just a little too risky for me to be here anymore. So I'm
just not safe in this home anymore. For
not
me.
Safe in this house anymore. So I'm moving on. See you later.
There is a lot in this story that just makes me scratch my head. Yeah. Like the attitudes and the thought processes and everything else in this story. It's just like, if I was a paranormal person and you were telling me this, I'd be like, what? What? Like,
I'd have to go to the property myself to see it.
I would
just be like, just give me the address and I'll go out there and take a peek at it.
Right. Exactly. I'm like, you're blowing my mind here, people, because nothing you were saying is making any sense. Like, I understand the claims, but you're like the arrogance and stuff of people who are like mildly spiritually aware. What is wrong with you? I would have maybe the thing is I would have a hard time being professional. I honestly would. Like, this just brings me back to like the case that we never talk about. The only case out there where I literally during the investigation called my client a moron. I don't, not my best moment. I will say this, but 100% justified. And this case, this home, this whatever, and this story is just giving me those same vibes. Like there's just a lot of stupidity revolving around this that needs to like be shifted through to like get to what is actually going on and to fix it. But to your guys' point, who wrote in, yes, go ahead and have your house blessed, and hopefully that would take care of everything for you.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cut and dry here. I think that it's probably the previous homeowner that was in the car wreck and passed away. I'm going to guess that, like we've talked about many times on the show, and like Mike already mentioned, that doesn't realize that they've passed, probably trying to understand what's going on. Why is the house in such a state of disrepair? It never looked like this when I lived here before. Neighborhood kids are coming in and starting fires in the house because that's exactly what's happening. There's not just fires randomly happening because you feel a demonic presence and the demons are trying to burn the house down. And that's what caused the good ghost to pack up his bags and leave. Because that's really what I get out of this story. So I think it's probably the previous homeowner. I think that they are confused as to why the house is in such a state of disrepair. I think that they're probably interested in why you're there, but then they see you working, fixing stuff, so they're probably happy that that's happening, and probably why they asked you to stay, and then did something simple like not to hurt you, just take your lanyard and made your keys pull out of your pocket type of thing. Not trying to hurt you, not trying to scare you, just trying to make contact in a non-aggressive way to say, hey, I'm here and I need some help. I'm confused. And I think that's exactly what's happening here. So I think the best thing that you could do is have the house blessed by a qualified religious leader of your choice, and let them know that during the blessing that you would like to have them ask the angels to come down and help move on anybody who's at the house that's confused or lost or just wants to move forward and wants to get out of there. And I think that the energy in that house will change, be completely fine. And then you just got your hands full with a money pit. I mean, to be honest, no utilities, no electricity. I mean, I hope it's a great house, that great bones, and you got it for nothing. So.
All right. Well, look at that. Right on time.
Look at that. 8 p.m. Da, da, da.
All right.
So
well, we
know how we're doing.
This is a well planned out show, everybody.
It's amazing. It amazes me sometimes how we just randomly are all over the place and then look up and go, hey, look at that. Worked out perfect. Oh, man.
All right. So, no longer need to play the, not the introduction. What the no.
We don't need our timeout.
Right. We don't need our timeout. I need to find out. Intermission. There we go. You start with an I. Don't need to play that anymore.
Nope.
So let's just go right into the second hour. And you, Mr. Sawyering,
yes, sir,
have a topic that you wanted to bring up. That
yes, I do.
Apparently, you're going to bring up over and over and over again throughout the rest of this year. Mm-hmm. Kind of like your equipment question, which hasn't been seen in a number of years.
Right. It's been a while. I said I should have never got rid of that question, but this is going to replace that question. And moving forward, I want to get different opinions and different viewpoints from different people on what they think.
Okay. So let's throw out the initial topic now.
Sure.
And why don't you, not only describe what it is, but what brought you to this point?
So I've been wondering for a while, do paranormal things disappear when we turn the lights on? Or is it just because the lights turn on and our eyes now see differently that the entity or whatever you saw is still there, but you just can't see it anymore? Or the flip side of the coin is this the true story of light versus dark, where when you turn the light on, for some reason that has the power to send something that came from the dark scurrying because the light in some way negatively affects it or harms it in a way that sunlight would harm a vampire, would be like my best example of that, where it can't be in the light. It doesn't want to be in the light. It would be harmed if it stayed in the light. And I'm curious as to which train of thought people think is happening on that. And it came to me in a vision, like as I was projecting. It was not necessarily a good dream, but there was a lot of weird stuff in it, and there was this really nasty character in it too. But he was a subplot for whatever reason he was there. I don't know. He was just an ass,
subplot.
Yeah, but the thing was, right, is that I was the fly on the wall for some reason in this situation with these kids that were being scared to death in their house and having to get up and run out of bed and turn on the light, but the light was at the door. There was no other light in the room, so the light switch was right by the door that controlled the lamp in the corner of the room that provided light. And for some reason, I was in this room watching these two kids, and I didn't recognize either one of them. But this thing was scurrying around, and the little boy would have to get up and run and turn the light on in order for it to disappear. But I saw it. It didn't disappear. It stayed there, but they couldn't see it anymore. And so I'm, I don't know, I'm trying to figure it out. It was some sort of vision that I had, and I don't know why I even had it. But maybe it's going to be a future case. I don't know, like one of those kind of things, premonitional type of thing. But so my question, so my thought is, for them, when they turned on the light, it was like a security blanket, and everything was fine. And they felt better, and they felt safe, and they weren't as scared. But I could still see that the thing was still there. It just acted differently. So I don't know, it's food for thought. It's something to ponder on. So moving forward, I'm going to kind of throw that out there to our guests and see what their thought is as to if they think turning on the light causes darkness to flee and take off, or if it just camouflages them and they're still there. You just can't see it.
Are you done? I mean, I just didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay. There's a lot of questions in there.
There is a lot of questions in there. That's why I said we're going to be talking about this and opening it up as we move forward, this year. I think it's a good topic to kind of just reflect back on. And maybe not every show, but every other show, something like that.
Guest shows maybe if it is applicable to that guest. Right. I mean, that would be something obviously to ask, Barry Fitzgerald.
Right.
Something like that.
Or Cena.
Or Cena.
Or Jody.
Cena's going to say it's an alien. I mean,
well, right. And then Cena's going to remind me that everything is happening simultaneously for past, present, and future is all happening. And then I'm just going to look at her all bug-eyed again, like a deer in the headlights, unable to get out of the highway as the truck's approaching doing 80. Love her, but she blows my mind sometimes.
Yes. And then she'll try very hard not to mention that we're in Mercury retrograde, to make me buck my eyes out at her.
God, somebody at work was just did that to me.
Mention that we're in retrograde.
Mm-hmm.
And you still have a job?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't follow astrology.
Is that how you tore your Achilles, by kicking them in the ass?
No.
No, I love her. It's a friend of mine at work. I love her to death. Very, very spiritual, beautiful, loving person.
Right. I'm just kidding.
But she brought up she's big into astrology, and so she brought that up, and that's not my forte.
I understand.
But I did say this, and I did tell her this, and she gave me a lead, and I'm going to reach out and I'm going to contact this lady for a future show, because I don't think we've ever had like an astrologist on the show as a guest. And so I think we should. And I think we should have this lady on the show. So I'm going to reach out and see if she wants to come on the show. She has her own podcast too. So she'll be a guest. She'll be a good guest because she knows how podcasts work.
Oh, I was saying, if we ever wanted that, I could have just, I've had an astrologist on the Odyssey Hour with the team. So I could have just brought that. All right.
Yeah,
anyway,
no, I don't think you and I have ever had one on. So
you're right. I don't think we have.
No, so I think it'd be a good guest here. So sometime this year we'll see if I can get this lady hooked up and see if she'll come on.
Okay. Anyway, back to the topic at hand.
Yes, back to the light topic.
So you could say, for the example that you did specifically, and I'm not saying this is an every time thing. This is specific to the situation that you were talking about.
Right.
And I think it does go out to a lot of different cases, but it depends on the goal and the intention of the entity that is doing it. We all know, I mentioned it earlier in the show, that light just brings us comfort. It's the human condition. So if this dark entity is attempting to scare people, like that is the point, that is the goal, is to scare these children. It knows that as soon as the light gets turned on, all of its power is gone, because these kids are going to feel comfort. They're going to be able to see everything. It's not going to have its ability to do what it wants to do anymore.
Right.
So, as you had put it, the camouflage about the fact that you could say that doesn't, just because you turn on the light doesn't mean it's suddenly gone. It just means it's no longer going to allow you to perceive it. Like we've talked a lot on the show, that if a spirit wants you to see it, it's going to let you see it. If it doesn't, you're probably not going to. Right. Unless for whatever reason, it doesn't know how to control when it appears and when it doesn't, which I think also happens every once in a while. Sometimes these full-bodied apparitions and stuff are completely accidental. If they're intelligent spirits, they're probably just going to be as surprised as you are. Like you can see it as it can see you.
Oh, I've seen full body apparitions look at me in total shock, look right into my eyes in total shock as I'm looking at them in total shock.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments like, what the hell are you doing here? And they're looking at me like, what the hell are you doing here? And
exactly.
And I've had that happen a few times, and it's a very, very interesting moment, a very interesting time slip when that happens.
I don't know. I don't necessarily think that it's I wouldn't
say time slip, but it's a dimensional shift of some type, because I'm in their dimension as their ghost, and they're in my dimension as my spirit that I'm seeing. And because that look on their face is one of like, what the hell are you doing here? Either that, or they're amazed that I can see them.
Right.
One of the two.
But again, light has nothing to do with that. I mean, I'm sure the lights are probably on, or it's daylight.
No, The two times it's happened to me twice, distinctly twice. And one of it was there was a light on in the room, but it was not like, bright, like, bright
lamp or something like that.
Lamp in the corner. Right. And it was a full blown apparition, full color, everything. Looked like a human being, looked like a real person standing there. And then the other time it was in passing, as I thought, well, that's odd that she would be standing there. And she looked at me like, well, that's odd that he's looking at me standing here. And then we did a double take, looked at each other, and then she turned and walked right through the wall. And I was like, oh, well, there you go. That's why we looked at each other strange, because she's able to walk right through the wall and I can't follow her. But I did go run to the room, open the door and look in the room, and she was not there, which disappointed me because I was really hoping to see her standing there.
I'd be like,
that would have been cool. That could actually see a spirit walk through a wall and then run
to the door and go into that room that they walked into, and then for them to be in that room, come on. That's like the holy grail, man.
It would, which is probably why I don't think it's ever happened.
Probably not. Yeah.
So getting back
Yes.
to your topic.
Yeah, to my vision.
Right. I mean, and just in general, I mean, the thing about it is that not only can entities, do their little thing in the dark, in order to scare us or get whatever sort of reaction we can, it doesn't matter whether the light is on and off. To them, I think. To us, it's the world, because we no longer are fearful. Although I bet if those kids flipped on the light, that thing was still there, they probably would have been even more horrified.
I'm sure they would have been.
Because then it becomes real. It's not a trick of the eyes.
Right.
I mean, if you wake up and you think you see a silhouette of an old woman or something like that, and you reach over and flip on the light, the lamp that's on your thing, and she's still there, you're probably going to start screaming your head off.
Oh, like the old hag floating above you? Yeah.
Whichever, whatever it wants to look like, an old man, a young man, a child, with black eye, whatever. Because once the light is on, it becomes real. Like, that's the real world. And if you flip on the light and there's nothing there, that's why you're comfort, because it was a trick of the eyes. You're seeing you can throw it away. You can dismiss it. Exactly. You turn on that light and it's still there. That's a different story.
Yeah, you can't dismiss it.
You can't dismiss it anymore.
Right.
And so that leads me also to wonder, because we've talked about this on the show before, about not so much apparitions, well, let's just say visions, things in your ears that only one person out of a group hears.
Right.
So does that mean that it was just whispering in your ear, or was it in your mind that, kind of telling you what it is you need to see, what it is you need to hear, and then you're just kind of doing it? Is it a hallucination brought on by a supernatural force type of thing? Is it not actually scurrying around? Is it in your head making you see it? That sort of thing.
Well, okay. So I'm going to throw this out there while we're on this subject, because I've wondered this too. So did the kids in this particular example, did their guardian angels not let them see the entity when they turned the light on?
Yeah, I'm not able to answer that question. I had no flipping idea. If you would have been like, I saw this bright light suddenly appear, and I'd be like, yeah, that's probably a guardian. But you can't just be like, oh, yeah, sure, that's why they didn't see it. I don't flipping know.
I mean, I wonder if I wonder if their guardian angels blocked them from being able to see that, because it was still in the room. Right. And then so that leads me to a question like that, obviously. And I'm not looking for an answer on a question like that, because that question doesn't have any answers. It's one of those rabbit hole questions. So then the other rabbit hole question that I have is, does a negative entity really have, like, a low level vibrational energy, now we're talking, really have the ability to show itself in the light? And I'm going to say, I don't think it does.
I'm going to say not at first. Like, I think it needs a major, I mean, that's why it goes through this playbook. Like, you see all of these different demonic cases and stuff like that they do, do the reenactments. It's almost always the same. It starts with the feeling. It starts with, the closed door. It starts with missing stuff. It's little by little, enough to build that anxiety.
Missing time. Yeah.
Exactly. Then it boosts it boosts itself up to bad dreams. You see some, a kitchen knife, turning on the counter.
Right.
It keeps building it up. And once it gets to like level 8, all of a sudden, then they're able to see it in some sort of thing. So no, I honestly think that demons are not as strong on this plane initially as they would like us to believe. I think they use a lot of smoke and mirrors, and they build on our own anxieties and our own fears and our own distrust of this and that in order to build up their own power, and then they're able to do what they want to do. Which is why we were always saying don't be fearful of it. Which is obviously easier said than done. And why light brings so much comfort.
Right. And so do blankets.
Yeah.
I mean, blankets are a lifesaver when you're a child, because there is something magical about a blanket that you can pull over your head and nothing can get through it. So trust me, I know.
I get that. But is that not, again, your own?
It's a defense mechanism.
Well, right. But is that not your own power?
Yes.
I mean,
I think honestly it is. And you just don't realize you have it.
Exactly.
As a child, you don't understand what's happening, and you don't understand that you have the ability to stand up and fight. You're just scared.
There's a great episode of Supernatural, which I'm absolutely angry at the fact that they didn't finish that storyline. But it's the one where they found what they considered to be the Antichrist, but he's just a kid.
Yeah.
And you remember how, at the very beginning, the babysitter, scratched her own brains out.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was, the kid she was babysitting put itching powder in her hair, but it wasn't supposed to do that. But this kid was taught, he even said, he put itching powder. He was like, oh, that stuff will make you scratch your brains out.
Right.
It wasn't until he was told, no, that's not true, where it went away. He didn't know, but he was manifesting that reaction. Obviously, he has a lot more power than a normal kid. But right. I mean, when you're a kid and you think that blanket is going to protect you and you throw it over your head, do you not put that shield up that says, sure, I am now protected?
Absolutely.
And I think even as adults, we're able to do that. The only problem is we know better. And I'm going to put that in air quotes.
Well, I don't, but most adults do.
Right. It comes to the thing where you want to think something, like if something were to come into my house, and I would be like, I'm just going to throw these blankets over my head and they're going to protect me. I know deep down that's not the truth. So therefore, does my intention really not even work? Which is probably the case.
Right.
So I mean, I was actually told by a former investigator of mine, we were talking about Supernatural and stuff like that. And she told me flat out, she's like, if you believe, literally and fully believe, this quarter or whatever is going to make you $1 million, you will make $1 million with this quarter.
Right. You'll manifest it.
Exactly. But the thing is that I can say all I want, but I know deep down, it's not
right. And that's it for everybody. But there are people, it's very, very few, 1 in a billion, 2 in a billion, that could hold that quarter and could manifest that and turn that into $1 million.
But I bet you
if you rare.
I bet you if you told a kid that, though, might be able to do it, because the kid will believe, fully believe.
Well, sure, because you're going to set them on the path.
Yeah.
It's the same thing too. If you take your kid to the Kennedy Space Center and tell them how your biggest American hero that you've ever known are the astronauts, John Glenn and these guys, right? And and you get your kid excited about that, and you tell them the best thing you could ever become in the world in your lifetime would be an astronaut. That kid's going to be an astronaut, or he's going to die trying, or she, whatever, I mean, they're going to be, if they don't get to be an astronaut because of some limitation that they might have, some physical thing or whatever, they're still going to be involved in NASA somewhere.
I was going to say they'll be in NASA. Yeah.
Right. They're still going to be at NASA. So maybe they won't get to fly to the moon or go to Mars or be on the space shuttle or go to the space station, but maybe they'll be behind the scenes coordinating it so the person who does go gets there safely and returns safely. And they'll be a key person in that wheel. It's all about intent, and it's all about setting people on the right path. But it's interesting that this low level thing couldn't be seen when the light was turned on, but but the thing was still there, which I found that to be very interesting. So that has got my brain churning now with, for the kids, did it literally disappear for them? Or did the light just provide the warm security blanket? And it took over,
I just had thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
And when this happens, I'm sure that this is my spirit guides trying to tell me something. What if, because we all vibrate at our own level.
Yep.
In the dark, I think it's a lot easier for lower vibration beings to be seen.
Oh, yeah.
What if, once they turned on the light, their ability to perceive that low level being, because of the vibration of the light and the vibration that these kids are now vibrating at, they're not able to perceive it because of that.
Right. I think that's a total possibility. And then that brings into the question again, is there some sort of somebody watching over them that raises that vibration and takes them out of that moment?
I mean, I think that can be done. I don't necessarily think that in this particular instance it was. I mean, what if it's just a natural occurrence of something that we humans do?
Could be.
I mean, we're always high and lows with our
Right.
vibration, and that's not because of any external force. It's just the way that we conduct ourselves.
Right. I mean,
So-
you will hear people that we've had on the show that are friends of ours and friends of the show will tell us that, you need to be at a high vibrational level all the time. But I'm a human being. I don't operate at a high vibrational level all the time.
You know who would be great to ask this question to? Susan Slaughter.
I could think of about a dozen people that I'm going to ask this question to when we have them on the show.
Well,
So-
that's the one that came to my mind right now, and Barry Fitzgerald, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to pose it to everybody. Because I'm curious to see what people's thoughts are on it, because there really is no right answer. We're never going to know. That's weird.
Sorry, I was fiddling around with this.
No, I just had something show up on my screen from 2 years ago, a friend request. A couple years ago. Just popped up. That's a weird timing.
Okay, well, anyway.
Yeah, anyway. No, I'm off my train of thought. Anyway, so let's leave it there. I don't think there is a right answer. I think this is a great rabbit hole question. I think we could talk for days on it. I don't know that there's ever going to be a right or wrong answer for it, but I think it's a very interesting question. So is it that the low level vibrational beings are affected by the light, or do they just or do our brains camouflage them out, even though that thing was still there? And it was a little piece of shit. I mean, it was just messing with the kids. I felt like it felt like being the fly off the wall and then manifest back into who I am and just squash it. Just stomp on it.
I would like to say, though, that there is a right answer. We just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, right. And maybe we'll get there.
Sooner or later. I mean, if not us, then the next generation or the generation after that.
Right.
Sooner or later, the answers that we asked today are going to be answered.
Correct.
Did I say the questions that we asked or the answers that we asked? I don't know. I might have missed
possibly even like in a scientific format. Because we were talking about, when we were talking last week, and I didn't say this out loud, but it just rushed into my head. The scientific community has done such a disservice to the paranormal sciences by not giving them the credit that they're due and exploring them. Because what was physics or gravity or any of the shit that science now puts their claim on, right? Like, oh, I figured that one out. Yeah, well, you know what? That was paranormal when that apple fell out of that tree and hit him in the head. You didn't know why that happened. That was a paranormal event because it was an abnormal thing that happened. I think that we would be so much farther along with our understanding of what's going on and anyway, that's
well,
that is two guys in a chip conversation coming right there.
That is not two guys and two dudes and some chips.
Yeah, I'm going to lambaste the shit out of science.
No. We talk about football and crap like that.
Oh.
2 dudes and some chips, not 2 paranormal investigators
All right.
and a couch.
Okay.
That's
Well,
what
you-
this show is.
All you science lovers, you just got saved by Mike.
We'll see. Anyways, so speaking of
Speaking
weird
of.
things that we still can't figure out,
Yes.
are superstitions. What a great segue.
Segue.
So
We're good on segues. We haven't had a good segue in a while. That's a good one.
thank you. So I came up with this topic because I think it's important that, you know, there are a lot of people out there who have a lot of superstitions, and we all scoff at the ones that we don't believe in. You know, like
Do we
retrograde.
believe in any of them?
There are a lot of people that do. Absolutely. And
I will say, I will not walk under a ladder.
I would walk
I have
under
no
a ladder.
rational reason why, other than hearing that it is bad luck.
See,
So-
I will be more than happy to walk underneath a ladder, but I won't pick up a penny that's tail side up. That might be bad luck.
There you go.
So we all have, and I would scoff at you. I'm like, what's wrong with going underneath the ladder? Nothing's going to happen to you. But then you would scoff at me and be like, well, what's going to happen to you if you pick up a penny that's tail side up?
Right.
In fact, I just, when I was reading up on that one, I actually, for the first time, saw that if you do see a penny with the tail side up, you should flip it over and leave it for the next
Put it
person.
back down. Right.
And
I
then
saw
put it
that
back
too.
down.
Yep.
Which was new to me. It was always like, don't pick up a penny that's tail side up, because that's bad luck. But apparently, like chainmail, the chain letter or whatever, you know, I just figured that you'd just leave it alone, you'd be fine. So the reason that I got on this, and this is the origin stories, you know, where did these superstitions come from originally, and why are they even, you know, around? And the big one is bad luck to see the bride before the wedding. And that one, and David, I was talking about this before the show, is pretty much like gone to pasture. Like, I don't think anybody really has that anymore in their mind, because people are always taking their photos with the, you know, everything with the bridesmaids and the groomsmen and the whole, you know, wedding party and stuff all before the wedding. So you're always seeing the bride before the wedding. But where did that come from? And I read this great art, this paragraph, and it's so still men for us. So basically, it dates back to arranged marriages, and people thought that if the groom saw the bride before the marriage, which he had never seen her before, that he would call off the marriage due to the fact that maybe she's just not attractive enough.
Mhm.
And that if he did not see her until they were on the altar, he would have no choice but to go through with it, because a lot of these arranged marriages had to do with business, you know, business transactions.
Oh, sure. Two rich families getting together.
Exactly.
Yep.
So based on the vanity and the superficialness of men, it was considered to be bad luck. That they made that up specifically so the groom would not see the bride before the wedding.
Mhm.
And then they would have to go out and do it, so to ensure that the son would marry the woman. So there's no real bad luck in it. It was pretty much just a ploy to scare the groom into marrying the woman if she were unattractive to the man. But that got me obviously thinking about other ones. So I told mine, Dave. Why don't you go ahead and share one? And it better not be about the black cat. That's mine, because that's just amazing, and I can't wait to tell everybody about it.
Yeah, not a problem. So I've got two, and I'm really not going to get into depth on them because I'm going to do two back to back because they're really short.
Sure.
So in South Korea, people will not sleep in a closed room with a fan on, because it's commonly believed that prolonged exposure to a running fan will cause hypothermia and asphyxiation. I can tell you for a fact, I've been sleeping with a fan on for 40 years. I've never had hypothermia and I've never asphyxiated myself. So you're completely safe. And then this one, just because I love this one, it might seem gross or unlucky, but stepping in dog poop is actually considered good luck in France, but only if you do it with your left foot.
Literally.
So, yeah.
I stepped in dog crap on Friday.
With your left foot?
I think it was my right.
Yeah,
So that's why I was I was trying to go over where it was my right. Oh well.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, it's not. So it's good luck to step in poop. Excellent.
It's good luck to step in dog poop in France, but only with your left foot.
And interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this next one is something we still do. We all do it. I don't think this not necessarily because it's superstitious, but it's just one of those like, why not? And that's knocking on wood. We always do, all of us.
I do it all the time.
We always do. We always do something all of a sudden like knock on wood, and and we knock on something that's wood. And so apparently this has multiple origins. Indo-European, Celtic, and even possibly British origins. And some of these are just weird. So the Indo-European or the Celtic believe that spirits, both good and bad, resided in trees, who could either be called upon for protection or chased away by knocking on their home. And others, particularly Christians, believed that the magical power of a wooden crucifix. So when you were knocking on wood, you would knock on like the what was supposed to be representative of the crucifix. What won't they steal? And there's actually a British children's game called Tiggy Touchwood, which sounds like something a pedophile would bring up, I guess, in which young players claimed immunity from being tagged by touching the nearest piece of wood. So adults picked up on the habit naturally. British, I guess, still say touch wood as opposed to knocking on wood. And that's how we get knock on wood.
I'm guilty.
I do it all the time. All the time.
Like if I say something and I'm like, oh, yep, nope, I want that to come true, or I want that to manifest. Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood.
And I'll look around till I find a piece of wood and knock on it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reminds me of when we were at the hotel and I was shaving a haircut and they got the EVP. Don't do it. He's just effing with us.
I remember that one.
It was such a great EVP. The two
He's
guys
effing with
down the
us.
hall. Don't do it. He's just effing with us.
He's effing with us. Yep.
Oh, Grace, that's a classic one. Okay, so the social etiquette of blessing someone after they sneeze originates from the ancient belief that one could sneeze out their soul.
Or the evil spirit.
Yawning and sneezing were both considered high-risk activities in the time of the ancient Romans and Greeks. A lot of ancient beliefs in general about a separable soul. It could separate for a brief period of time. When you dream, for example, your soul is out of your body, so it can't get back in if you're sneezing, explained folklore librarian Miora Smith to the Washington Post. Concerned believers started saying bless you as a divine safeguard against wayward souls. Interesting. I say bless you all the time, but I just say it to be polite. And because usually when you sneeze, it's like a sign of coming on, like with a cold or something like that. And so it's kind of just to me, it's just a well-wishing of, hey, I wish you good health. Yeah, I hope you're not getting sick kind of thing without having to go into the whole elaborate thing of saying that.
Yeah,
I don't think that people's souls are rushing out of their face when they sneeze, but
So basically, when you say God bless or bless you or anything like
Yeah.
that, you're not actually talking to the person who sneezed. You're talking to the germs and stuff.
The germs that are being sprayed out all over the place.
A cloud and germs. That's what you're blessing. So that this one, I've heard of people doing it. I've heard it for a long time. I've never actually seen anybody do it, and that is throwing salt over their left shoulder.
Yep.
So basically, this comes from, again, Christian times. One of the main origin stories is, at the Last Supper, Judas spilled salt on the table, and so since he was, the betrayer or whatever, it's kind of been dawned that if you spill salt, then that is you doing something bad, and that you need to throw salt over your left shoulder, because that is where like the devil or whatever is standing and waiting to tempt you. And
right. And so you got to throw it in his eyes.
Right.
That's why you're throwing it over your shoulder. You're throwing it in the devil's eyes.
Right. And that is supposed to, I guess, get them to not do it. The other, it was also done in Roman times. Salt at that time was very valuable. So if you spilled it, it was considered you incurring bad fortune. So you would throw it over your left shoulder in order, as an act of penance, to present worse loss from occurring.
Makes sense.
Sure. All of these make sense.
Yeah, a couple times in my life I have actually done that, but I don't do it on a regular basis. Like the one time I could remember distinctly doing it, I reached across the table, was reaching for something, knocked the salt shaker over, salt spilled on the table. I reached down, picked up the salt, and threw it over my left shoulder.
Well, since I never use salt,
devil's eyes or not, so I don't know. But
yeah, pretty much the only time I ever touch salt is when I'm handing it to somebody else. I don't salt anything, really.
Well, that's because you're just,
weird. I know.
Yeah.
So here's yours, Dave, walking under a ladder. And
no, actually, nope. Oh, you're going to do it?
Oh, you wanted to do it? All right, go ahead.
No. You can do it. I'm going to do the breaking mirror.
Okay, that sounds good. All right. So, because you said you just had two, so I thought you didn't have any more.
Oh, no. I was sneaking in two that I wasn't going to elaborate on together.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I've got 80 of them.
More than we are ever going to get to, my friend.
Yes. All right. So the superstition of not walking under a ladder also has roots in Christian symbolism. Shocker. Mm-hmm. And this is what shocked me. So basically, they're taking. So as you put the ladder up, against the wall, it makes a triangle. Yep. And apparently, the triangle is in association with the Holy Trinity, which is the Father, Son, obviously, and the Holy Spirit. And so you walking underneath a ladder breaks that sacredness and the sanctity of the Trinity. And thus you need to be punished for doing so. It has also been considered, it looks a lot like the gallows.
Yep.
That people would, so then people would fall from it. They obviously die. That's bad. And apparently the Egyptians, some of these do go all the way back to the Egyptians, thought that if you were to climb a ladder, you might, going up or down, you might accidentally see a god. And so basically I'll just read this verbatim. Finally, the Egyptians apparently thought that one might accidentally spot a god going up or down on a ladder, and so avoided it, which has nothing to do with going underneath a ladder, but whatever. And I just love this last time. Must have made building all those tall pyramids difficult.
I would think so. But the pyramids weren't built by human beings anyway. We already know that. So,
right. Anyways, but yeah, the whole Christian, I can't go underneath this because I'm breaking the Trinity, really I did not see that one coming.
No, I'm with Carol. I never saw that one either. Carol, I'm with you. But I just want to say, Jesus, I don't walk under ladders. So
You're so spiritual, Dave.
I am. I'm just saying. Right. So Jesus knows that I don't walk under ladders. Maybe that's why I don't walk under ladders. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But so ancient Romans believed that mirrors contained fragments of our souls. So breaking a mirror signified a break in someone's health and well-being. Luckily, they also believed that souls regenerated every 7 years, the amount of time the mirror breaker would be unlucky before they emerged new and whole again.
Yep.
I thought that was interesting with the 7 year, 7 years of bad luck.
Yeah, I never really understood that either until I was searching for this. And they're like, yeah, the whole health thing took 10 years from the time it started to when you were healthy again. And so when you broke the mirror, you're kind of breaking yourself. And so it was going to take 7 years before you become whole again. Yep. Interesting though.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Okay. I'm going to do it. Here's the cat.
Here comes the cat.
Love the cat. I was reading this and I just started laughing because I'm like, is that not what I've been saying for years?
I don't know. I tell you what, when I sent you that thing with the cat getting exercised.
Oh, yeah. That's
Jesus. I was laughing my ass off at that. And I'm like, I got to send this to Mike. That cat was losing its mind.
And
I was laughing so hard watching that. I'm like, I got to send this to him.
So people, and I've heard this tons of times before, and I always say the same thing, but people say in ancient Egypt, cats were worshipped as, as gods,
Sure.
and as guardians of the underworld. And I always say, I don't think they were guardians. I think they were ushers into the underworld. I think they showed you your seat. So even though that was the case in ancient Egypt, during the Dark Ages in 1232 AD, a papal bull, I don't know what the hell that is. I'm assuming it's a cat. I don't know. But by Pope, so another Christian, Pope Gregory the Ninth declared black cats as incarnation of Satan. Been calling it for years. But things went down. Things even went downhill from there. So people in the Middle Ages were burning them in bonfires on holy days like Shrove Tuesday. I've never heard of that before in my life. The first Sunday of Lent and even Easter. And when the Puritans in America connected to the practice of witchcraft, the color black obviously has been associated with evil and death, which didn't help matters for the people who were born there. But the Pope Gregory the Ninth, declared black cats an incarnation of Satan.
Wow.
Not surprised. Not surprised there, baby. Not surprised. But what did surprise me, and I don't think black cats need to be burned. I was kind of upset on that one. People of the Middle Ages were burning them in bonfires.
Yeah, no, that's not nice.
That's not okay.
It's not okay to grab your neighbor's kitten and throw it in a damn bonfire because it's black. What's the matter with people?
This was the Dark Ages. So, I mean,
I don't care.
I'm just saying.
Reminds me of Monty Python, where they're walking around clanging a bell, bring out your dead. Bang.
I never saw Monty Python.
You never saw Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
I never saw Monty Python.
Oh my God. The epitome of English humor at the exact time in the world that we're talking about. I'm not quite dead yet. Well, you will be shortly.
Okay. What's your next one?
All right. Step on a crack, break your mama's back. African and European folklore. Sounds like something that the Jackson 5 should have sang. Anyway, another superstition involving something cracked or broken being associated with bad luck is this superstition of stepping on a crack as foretelling or even causing harm to a family member. As with mirrors, cracks in the earth, on a sidewalk, or almost anywhere have long been seen as portals to the realm of the supernatural for both good and ill. To step on those cracks might be to invite or release unwelcomed spirits into the world ready to do one's harm. See, now I never heard that one. I like that.
No. Just no.
I tried to spend one day not stepping on cracks. People must have thought I was insane.
It's just a normal Tuesday, Dave.
Yeah, well, it was when I was younger.
Oh, gotcha.
Now I couldn't care less. I'm stepping on cracks, but no, there was a day, I don't know, for whatever odd reason, I was like, okay, I'm not stepping on any cracks today. And so I tried, and I made it about halfway through the day. But it was probably pretty damn comical watching me try to go about my day.
More than likely. All right.
The people that were watching it were like, I don't know what he's on, but man, it looks like it's good.
Maybe they understood that you were trying to avoid cracks.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
All righty. So if you're ever in Brazil or just South America, and you decide to go on a cleaning spree, you need to stay clear of brooms. So apparently, if you sweep a broom over your own feet, that means that you are going to remain single for the rest of your life. Unless you break the curse by spitting on the broom.
Mm.
Naturally, the exact origins of this superstition are unknown. But legend has it that a woman who cannot keep house does not a good wife make. Oh, love that one. I laughed so hard. I'm like, really? You need to
So
spit?
should we just walk by and spit on every broom we walk by just for safety's sake?
Well, no, you have to sweep your own feet.
Oh, no.
No? Okay.
No, I don't know.
So,
all right.
right.
I'm going to do Friday the 13th.
Good call.
So like the number 7 for the Romans, magical significance has been attached to the number 13, but this time it's unlucky rather than lucky. The number 12 has frequently been seen as positive, as in 12 months of the year, 12 signs of the zodiac, 12 days of Christmas, and the 12 tribes of Israel, naturally making its nearest neighboring number to the north negative. Like other superstitions surrounding the Last Supper, the 13th is also seen as unlucky because, once again, the great betrayer, Judas Iscariot, was the 13th member of the dinner party that led to Christ's crucifixion. Mm-hmm. In addition, on Friday the 13th of October 1307, King Philip IV of France arrested and put to death hundreds of the Templar Knights.
Yep, that was part of honestly, the first time that I ever kind of knew or had any sort of knowledge as to the origin of Friday the 13th was the Da Vinci Code.
Mm-hmm.
I had no flipping idea. None. So, go Dan Brown.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's one I haven't heard in quite a long time, but I think almost everybody follows it in some fashion, and that's opening umbrellas inside.
I don't do that.
Yeah, everybody waits till they're outside. They don't ever open
it.
Up.
It's already raining, like you're already soaking wet rain, and then you're like, oh, I gotta crumble around, get this umbrella open. Yeah,
exactly. And they're like, I can't do that inside. What? It's bad luck if you open up an umbrella inside. So apparently this superstition came from a couple of different places. One, when they were originally invented, they were very like rigid and pointy. They didn't have like that plastic thing on the end. And so for safety's sake, they're like, don't open your umbrellas inside because you might injure somebody when you're doing it with, these pointy things that are coming out. The other one in ancient Egypt, I don't know how true this is. So umbrellas were needed to protect noble and high class people from the sun. So opening the umbrellas indoors or in the shade was considered offensive to their sun god.
Right. Nut.
Yeah. And as Carol just said, and then sometimes it just doesn't even fit through the door.
And I will agree, a golf umbrella will not go through a door.
Golf umbrella will not. Well, I mean, if you pushed it through,
and damaged everything on the way in. Yes, it
top
will,
first, you can't do it, obviously, handle first.
Right.
So,
Fingers crossed.
Mhm.
Western Europe, pagan and Christian blend. The superstition of crossing one's fingers, bringing the lucky finger crosser, good luck, comes from pre-Christian pagan times in Western Europe, when the practice of making a cross with your own and the index finger of another person was thought to concentrate the forces of good spirits and to seal a pact or a wish with the fellow crosser. Over time, people realized that they could simply bless their own wishes by crossing their own two fingers. And that later simply turned into the index and middle fingers on one hand, which is still what we currently do today.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you what, that is probably a dying thing. As in, I don't see many people like cross their fingers like for good luck. Like, I haven't done it. I couldn't even tell you the last time I did it until just now.
I use my fingers so much. They're like, I can't even cross my fingers anymore. Like, this is as good as I can
As
do.
good as it's getting. Well, then you
Yeah.
might have to team up with somebody and do the old-fashioned two-fingered crosses.
Yeah, that's right. Or I can do it myself. You
Well,
know,
you can do it yourself, sure.
you can do your two index fingers and
Right.
fingers, fingers crossed.
Right.
I'm surprised the Christians didn't take that one. As you're paying tribute to the Holy Trinity by making the cross.
Right, exactly.
The curse of the evil eye.
Mm.
So I honestly, when I first saw this, I was like, I thought it was something completely different. Because one of the stories that was in Jim's book wasn't the curse that some lady threw on the family or whatever. Wasn't that called like the curse of the evil eye?
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that that's what this was, but it's not.
Mm-mm.
And
Been around
and
forever. Middle East.
yeah, so spanning the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and South Asia has been held for thousands of years that to achieve too much success would invite the anger and inspire the envy of the gods, who would then smite the unfortunate individual with a reversal of fortune. Does that? I'm not even going to bring up politics right now, but anyway. In response, though, to the fear of this curse, people across the ancient Mediterranean began fashioning amulets,
Ambulances.
maybe, I don't know, amulets and beads with an image of the quote unquote evil eye, sometimes referred to as Nazars. Never heard of that before. Which would then help ward off that horrible untoward fate. And what's interesting about this, and when I was reading that, I just thought it was like a Halloween thing, but Lauren, with her bracelets and stuff, she had all kinds of crystals. Well, she had like evil eye, like bracelets and stuff, and I never really understood what the significance of that was. I'm just like, well, those are pretty cool, and just kind of left it alone. Now I understand. Even then, she was ahead of me. Huh.
Yep.
So
tucking thumbs inside of a cemetery.
Never heard of this one. I've never heard of this one before. It made no sense to me.
Yeah. Like the fear of the word for in China, hinging on the similarity in its pronunciation to the Chinese word for death. The Japanese similarly, tuck in their thumbs when in a cemetery visiting the graves of dead relatives. This comes from the connection between the Japanese word for thumb and its meaning as the parent finger. To tuck in one's thumbs inside of a cemetery, then, is to protect one's parents from death.
Well, if your parents are already dead, what if you're at the cemetery to visit your parents?
Then I think you can pretty much be thumbs out.
I'm going full thumbs out today.
Yeah, I think you can go thumbs. I think you pretty much can go thumbs up. I think you're good. But if your parents are still alive, and then maybe they're struggling or something, where they're getting up there in age, and you go visit like a dead aunt or something at the cemetery in Japan, remember to keep your thumbs tucked in.
How does one even make that connection? Like, it just, yeah, I don't understand how people even come up with this stuff. Some of it actually makes sense, in a
Some of it
crazy
does.
ass way.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, okay. My last one, since we only have like 3 minutes left in the show.
Yep.
This one comes from the Caribbean. Itchy palms. And apparently, depending on which palm is itchy, depends on which fortune you are going to have. So, if depending on which palm of yours begins to itch, you may find yourself in the Caribbean with a bit of extra spending money or in the red. So apparently this only happens in the Caribbean. So when you go on those, cruises and stuff like that, that's when you have to watch for this.
Right.
If you have a left itchy palm, it means you will soon owe somebody money. If you have a right itchy palm, that means money will soon be coming your way.
What if your palms aren't itching at all?
Then you're near neutral.
I'm neutral.
So you're not in the Caribbean.
No. Yeah. You're right. I'm not.
So
Well,
apparently
anyway.
this even says you may find yourself in the Caribbean. So
right.
if you're not going to the Caribbean, then you're all right. But the left hand seems to hold passive energy, where the right hand has active energy, which is symbolically could explain the coming in and out of money.
I like that. So if I'm going to get an itchy palm, I want a right itchy palm.
No, you want left itchy palm.
No, because I don't want to owe money.
Well, no, the left hand. Oh, you're right. Left palm means you will owe money soon. You're right. I remembered that wrong. That's right. Right palm means money is coming your way.
Right.
So
right now I'm neutral, but if one of my hands should start to itch, I want it to be my right hand.
Yes. Right now you just have no money whatsoever.
Correct. I have money. It's just that it's already being partitioned to other places.
So so your left hand should be itching right now.
Right, exactly. My left hand should be on fire right now. It should be like I should be at the hospital getting like my left hand like descaled or something because the itching should be so bad.
Descaled? What are you, a reptilian? Yeah. Did you just have a fox paw or whatever? Are you just like admitting that you have scales over your left hand? I don't believe you anymore, Dave. Or should I call you Ragnar?
If you choose to call me that moving forward, I guess that's your personal choice, but I'm going to laugh every time.
Anyways, all right.
I don't think I'm reptilian, so I'm pretty sure I'm not. Because if I were reptilian, I think I'd be in better health. So I'm pretty safe. I'm pretty sure I'm not reptilian.
Well, Tina would have told you that a long time ago anyway.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, Tina would have told me I'm not reptilian. She said I'm a star child.
So. See, not reptilian.
No, not reptilian. Star child.
All righty. Starseed, whatever. I'm just me.
I'm just me.
I'm just doing me. That's all. Yep. All righty. Well, that does it for our show here tonight. Thank you, everybody, for making it this far with us. Hope you had fun learning about all these wonderful superstitious origins, and then maybe you will be less superstitious going forward. But again, for anybody who wants to send in one of their paranormal stories or questions, and
you too, Carol,
or wants to come on the show and tell us in person, obviously reach out to us, odysseyfilesradio@gmail.com, and we will go from there. We'll be back here with another new episode next week. Stay healthy, stay safe. We want to see you here. Everyone, have a great night.